Welcome to today's story of Norse mythology. I am Stigr the Skald. Today I'm going to tell the story of Fafnir the Terrible. Reitmar was a dwarf king who was extremely wealthy and lived in a house made from glittering gold and flashing gems. It was made for him by his son Regin, who was a master smith and craftsman, and it was guarded for him by his son Fafnir, who was considered stronger and more aggressive than his other brothers, and therefore best suited for his task. Reitmar's son Otter was a master fisherman, and often took on the form of an otter to catch his fish. One day the gods Odin, Loki and Vili were traveling and came across Otter in the form of a beautiful otter. Loki, not knowing that was the shape-shifted otter, killed the otter with a stone and skinned it for its magnificent pelt. Later that day, they arrived at the house of the dwarf king. Loki could not resist showing off his prize. Reitmar, Regin and Fafnir immediately knew what had happened and seized Loki, demanding that he pay recompense for the life that he had taken. Being dwarfs, they valued gold and demanded that Loki give them Otter's weight in gold. Loki remembered seeing a great treasure in the same lake that they encountered Otter. In order to gain his ransom, he returned to the lake and peered into its depth. There he saw a mighty hoard of treasure guarded by a giant pike, which was another shape-shifting dwarf by the name of Andvari. In order to save his life from Loki, Andvari agreed to hand over his entire treasure, but begged to be able to hold onto a single magnificent gold ring called Andvaranaut. Considering the ring the finest item in the hoard, Loki refused. As a result, Andvari cursed the ring to bring misfortune and destruction to whoever possessed it. Loki took the treasure to Reitmar and used it to pay his debt. He also handed over the ring to the Dwarven King and warned him of the curse, but the ring had already started to work its magic on Reitmar, who decided that he would keep the ring for himself. The curse quickly took hold on Reitmar and his family. Regin and Fafnir killed their father in order to possess it for themselves. Fafnir in turn decided that he did not want to share the treasure with his brother, so he turned himself into a mighty dragon and drove Regin away from their father's house. He then decided to retain his dragon form in order to guard this treasure day and night. Just as it was natural for Otter, the fisherman, to take on the form of an otter, it was natural for Fafnir, a man of immense strength and aggression, to take on the form of a dragon. As a dragon, he breathed poison into the land surrounding his father's house, which prevented people from coming near this treasure. He also wreaked terror in the hearts of anyone who came near. Once, Regin, a great smith, reforged the broken sword Balmung of Sigrid's father, who allowed him to avenge his father's death. The sword is so strong that Siegfried was able to split an anvil down to its base. As payment for this gift, Siegfried agrees to kill Fafnir for Regin, so that Regin himself can claim the cursed ring that still calls to his heart. And so, early the next morning, Siegfried mounted his horse Greyfell and rode out towards the desert land that lay beyond the forest and the barren mountain range. For 7 days they went their way. Soon he stood on the banks of the White River, but the stream was deep and sluggish, and the channel was very wide. He paused a moment, wondering how he should cross, and the air seemed heavy with deadly vapors. The water was thick and cold. While he stood there in thought, a boat came silently out of the mists, and the boatman stood up and called to him. While Siegfried went on board, he answered the question of the boatsman, who asked him what he was doing here. When he stated his business, to kill Fafnir, the boatsman gave him advice to kill the dragon. He had to dig multiple holes and hide in one. When Fafnir passed over it, let him feel the edge of Balmung. When the boat touched the shore, Siegfried leaped out and turned around to thank the unknown friend, but the boat or the boatsmen were gone. Siegfried then remembered that the boatsman had worn a blue cape and a broad-rimmed hat to hide the fact that he had but one eye, and knew that he had talked with Odin. When Fafnir arrived the next morning, Siegfried was hiding in the hole he dug as instructed by Odin. Siegfried thrusted his sword up and successfully wounded the dragon mortally. Regin, who waited nearby for Siegfried to complete his task, arrived and drank some of Fafnir's blood to regain some strength. He also asked Siegfried to cook Fafnir's heart for him to eat. Siegfried touched the heart to see if it was ready, and then licked his finger. This allowed Siegfried to speak with Odin's two ravens, Hugin and Munin, that warned him of Regin's soul, who is poisoned by the ring. When Regin drew near to look upon the dragon, Siegfried kindly spoke to him, but he seemed not to hear. "It's mine now," he murmured. "It's all mine. The strength of the world is mine. I will keep, I will save, I will heap up. And none shall part or parcel of the treasure which is mine alone." Then his eye fell upon Siegfried, and his mood grew dark. Siegfried wondered at the change which had taken place in his old master. "You have slain my brother," Regin cried, and his face grew fearfully black, and his mouth foamed with rage. "It was my deed and yours," answered Siegfried calmly, "and I have rid the world of a terror." Regin again told Siegfried that he murdered his brother, and that his ransom would be that of a murderer. Then, blinded by madness, he rushed at Siegfried as if to strike him down. But his foot slipped in a puddle of gore, and he pitched headlong against the sharp edge of Balmung. While Regin sank down dead upon the ground, slain by his own rashness, Siegfried turned away and mounted Greyfell. Did you like the story? Give the thumbs up and subscribe for more stories.